It's yours.
I'm Patrice. I'm Patrice.
Alright, how's it going?
Good.
Good?
Yes.
I think a lot of you know who I am. For those of you who don't, I'm Riley Reed, head of live and visual storytelling here at Godmothers. I've only met Patrice in the children's realm because, of course, you've written some profound children's books. And so it's very neat to have you up here amongst adults.
Yeah, I got to move up
We all have
to the
children.
adult section. I've done like 3 book signings for kids' books. So. Cool.
Keep 13 no more.
Do you mind if I grab a pillow and like?
Yeah, sure. We've got pillows right there if you'd like.
Great. Can someone toss me that? Because I'm sure it is problematic. Thank you.
Is it good?
Yeah.
So I have a bio. Would you like me to read your bio, or do you prefer to keep things a little more informal?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, because some people may not know.
Okay.
Much about it.
So Patrice Karst is the author of the best-selling contemporary classic, The Invisible String, which has sold over 2 million copies and been translated into 21 languages. Patrice has also written God Made Easy, The Invisible Leash, The Invisible String Family Celebration, How Jackson Found His Joy Again, The Invisible Web, You Are Never Alone, The Invisible String Workbook, The Invisible String Backpack, The Smile That Went Around the World, and Ruby and Lonely. Patrice has been on a lifelong mission to spread the message that love transcends time and space and is the most powerful force in the universe. She and her blue-eyed wiener dog Luna live in Santa Barbara, where they are taking lots of walks, and she is working on her memoir.
All true.
Right?
Luna's memoir?
You've been busy.
Your memoir. Luna's memoir. That's another one.
What a story she would tell.
Featured character. Would you like to go around and have everyone introduce
Sure,
themselves?
sure, I would
Maybe
love that.
say your name and what you're reading right now, since we are at a bookstore.
If you're reading.
My name is Doreen Mulhart. I live in Carpinteria. I'm a children's book author, and I know Patrice from our writers group. Our
The
writers.
Society of Children's
Children's
Book
Book
Writers and
Writers.
Illustrators.
Yeah.
Give them a plug.
Okay.
SCBWI. Great,
Right.
great organization.
I'm Deborah Hyam. I'm not a reader or a writer. We're friends. So I'm here
And
to
neighbors.
support my friend. So I'm here to support my friend.
I'm Krista Meridian, and I just finished reading Lost Souls Meet Under the Moon.
Is that a children's book or is that an adult?
It is not.
Lost Souls Meet Over the Moon.
Under the Moon.
Under the Moon.
Yeah.
Lost Souls.
Souls.
Huh. Is that a novel?
Yes.
Huh. That's very interesting.
I'm Janice Garrett, and I just bought downstairs the other day David Niven's biography.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's called The Moon is a Balloon. And as a little girl, I just loved David Niven and watched all the movies. And that was always the kind of man I wanted to marry. And I met him in California when I was younger at a someone's home. The gal that was whose house it was worked as a hairdresser on one of the sets, and he was in that movie. And I said to him, "I've been in love with you since I had the measles." So I haven't started again.
What was his response?
Oh, he just laughed. Yeah, he didn't ask me on. He was so handsome.
Suzanne.
My name is Suzanne. I'm a Godmother's addict.
Oh.
I'm currently reading Endling for the Elsewhere Book Club that's hosted by our lovely host this evening.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Marcia Robinson, and I am reading Hey Nature Lady by Jane Howard, who is also a friend and colleague of mine, and I'd love to get her down here reading from her adventures.
I'm Coco Wilding. I'm also a neighbor of Patrice and Deborah, so lucky. And I'm reading Infinite Possibilities by Mike Dooley. Very positive.
I'm Petra Boimer, and I am reading Circle of Stones by Judith Durek, I believe.
I'm Connie Fueo, and I'm reading, I think it's called The Divine Child by Rod Latham, a local artist who a lot of history about Summerlin. It's really fascinating. Yeah. And here to support Patrice and just to
Yes.
love her and see her and visiting with Julie. And seeing others.
And I'm Julie Dugan, and I'm Connie's friend, and I live in Marina Del Rey. And currently this month I'm too busy to read anything because I work a lot. But yeah, I like to read a lot about energy.
You're in the right place.
Energy and meditation.
Yeah.
I do a lot of that.
I'm Larry Traeger. I'm a medium and a soul reader, so I read spirits.
Ooh.
And I'd like to, could I just have a minute to tell a story about the invisible string
Sure.
and a 5-year-old?
Yes, please.
Okay, so when I saw the Ad Independent about this presentation, I went to the website, looked around, saw the invisible string. Usually intuition is a quiet voice. It was a screaming voice saying, "You must send this to your grandson now." I was visiting him the next day. So I sent it, it arrived in Alameda. I got there within an hour or so. I sat down with 5-year-old Griffin and read him the book and got to the end where the invisible string connecting all people. And he says, "And God too?"
God,
And then he says, "Till the end of time?"
for all eternity.
So anyway, it really moved this little guy.
I love it. That makes me so
Yeah,
happy.
we had a real special moment.
I'm glad. And you will, with him now for the rest of your lives, always be able to talk about your invisible string
Yes, I will.
forever.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
My name is Laura Grandicolis, and I am looking forward to starting the book we got the other night, the Homeboy Way. We got 2 books the other night with Father Bull and Father Blood was here, but I'm going to start the Homeboy Way.
It's great.
Hello, I'm Trisha Mendoza from LA. I met Patrice when I first moved here last year, and my last read is God Made Easy. Love it.
She came to my book signing at Paradise Found a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you.
So you talk about how you had your lifelong spiritual seeker. There were many questions in the beginning of your journey that you had as and also lifelong curious person. Who is God? Why are we here? Why is there suffering? Do you remember the first moment in your life where those questions began to find answers?
Oh, no, finding answers took a while because, as a child, I couldn't wrap my head around that I saw so much beauty that I just intuitively knew came from a creator. Someone had to have created all of this and the stars that blanketed the sky. But then I would also hear something on the news like a baby dying in a fiery car accident or, any manner of suffering. And I was like, who is this God? Who does that? How can that be? How could someone create such beauty and such suffering? So those answers came as a teenager when I started poring over every spiritual, religious, self-help, new age, metaphysical. I went down the rabbit hole when everyone else was out drinking and partying. Not that I didn't have a little bit of partying in there too, but I was in the metaphysical. There was 2 metaphysical bookstores in LA at the time, the Bodhi Tree in West Hollywood, and then there was the Ginkgo Leaf out in Northridge, and those were my 2 stops. When I got my driver's license, I would drive to metaphysical bookstores and just hang out and read every book I could. My bookshelf was toppling over. Those are when the answers began to come because I began to see that there was some truths, I call them the golden truths, that seemed to be woven through all the great teachings and all, I would start to see these little kernels, and it explains certain things like karma, and balance and lessons to learn and lessons that souls choose to experience. And it's like, so there was answers. Has it ever fully satisfied me? Absolutely not. I still can't believe that God allows such suffering. But I know that He works in mysterious, it, by the way, I do not think of God as just, a bearded man in the sky. So whatever someone's concept of God is, whatever this creator is, whatever this source, this presence, this thing that runs all galaxies at the same time, it has its reasons for things. And maybe that's it. Maybe, and I say, and God made easy, maybe it remains a mystery until the end. Maybe we don't get all the answers while we're here, because we couldn't, with our limited human minds, we couldn't understand them all anyway. And that's, I guess, where faith and trust comes in. That I don't understand the reasons for things, but there is one that does, and I'm gonna have faith in that.
Yeah, and surrendering to that is very
Surrendering, and it's not easy. I'm not the best surrenderer by any stretch, you know.
Why not?
Oh, Lord knows.
Do your friends know why not?
Do what?
Do your friends know why not?
I no, they probably just, I don't know what, you'd have to ask them. You'd have to ask them. I don't know what they would say, but no, I mean, I'm a flawed human being, but I've had this amazing grace that's happened amidst some of the agony of this planet. There's been a lot of agony too, but I woke up, well, I don't know if you're gonna, I don't wanna jump on your question, so.
No, it's okay. I'm just here to help carry, so.
Well,
lean on me or
so for
you need
people
me.
that don't know the story, I, like Ryland's saying, I've been on a spiritual journey all of my life, and then when I was 34 years old, I think, I was living in the Palisades in a little mobile home, single mom, raising my son, who was, I don't remember, 4 or 5 at the time, and I woke up one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I saw these words sort of just hovering, is the best way I could describe it. They were just like hovering in the air, and they spelled out, it was God made easy. And I looked and I couldn't figure out, I was like, that's interesting. I didn't know what it was, but I started thinking, how can you make God easy? Like, how would someone do that? Would it be a picture? How would you do it? And then this little voice said, go get a notebook and start writing. And I didn't want to, because I was really tired. It was Saturday morning and my kid was asleep, and I didn't want to. And I did lay my head down, and then someone said they were studying energy. It wasn't like a physical, but it was like a energetic, bolted me upright. And I went and grabbed a spiral notebook, and I started writing. And 1 hour later, it was now 7 in the morning, I wrote the last word, and I didn't know what this was, but it was 20 pages really of scribble, because it was all coming through very fast. It was like dictation. And since then, I've never had an experience like that. I've had inspired books where, I've gotten a message and it's poured out. You have writers and artists and musicians sometimes say that a work pours through them. And I've had that experience before, but not like this. This was not like, I wasn't writing it. It was writing me, it was using me. And in hindsight, I mean, in retrospect, when I looked at when I reread it to myself, now at 7, it was me. It was, it was my humor. It was my belief system. There was nothing like, whoa, where did that come from? It was me, but it was like, whoa, like, how did you do this? Like, you just simplified the whole shebang. I knew it was really good. I mean, I did. I knew it was, whatever this was, it really was special. But I didn't know if I was supposed to share it with a friend or just keep it as like a sacred teaching that came through me and between me and God. But then that voice, and I always have to preface this by saying it wasn't like an alien, it wasn't an alien being. It wasn't like I was trying to know, a man from Scotland. It wasn't like that. It was just this inner voice that said, this is to be a book. These are the exact words. This is to be a book. It will go all over the world and reintroduce the wonder of God to people of all faiths, or to people that have no faith at all. And your job, Patrice, is to get it published. And I was like, what is going on? And I called some friends, waited till 8 in the morning because they wouldn't have been happy. And I said, can I read you some of this thing that came through me? And I read it to a couple people, and they were like, it's really freaking great, So I went to Kinko's that day.
Kinko's.
Yeah, went to Kinko's. Yeah, it was 19, by the way, November 11th, 1995 is when this whole thing happened. 11/11 for those of you that that's another whole rabbit hole, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, I wrote it on 11/11/1995. I didn't own a computer, but I knew Kinko's could help me out. So I took my spiral pad and I said, listen, I've written this thing where you type, and God knows how they read my writing, but they printed, we did it, we worked together, they printed it up. I got 3 copies. Sunday I went to Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica and looked for spiritual books that were, I knew it was going to be small. It was 20 pages. And I wrote down the names of the publishers, and on Monday morning, I proceeded to call all 3 publishers, and some people with the other book signings, so you know my story, but I repeat. But I somehow that morning got through all the gatekeepers. I'm telling you, that's why I say when God wants something done, things happen. Things happen. You know, they're like defy belief. But that day, that morning, on Monday morning, I got through to all 3 acquiring editors at these publishing companies, and they all 3 got past the receptionists, the secretaries, the different people, got through to them, and you know, they said, well, who are you? I'm Patrice Cars, and I've written this mass market book about God, and it's going to go all over the world, and I'd like to give you the first opportunity to read it. And I think that the level of audacity, you know, to just call up and say, I'm going to give you the first opportunity, and here I am, you know, not following any of the protocols. I'm having an agent, writing query letters, you know, like this is Kinko's printed, and all 3 said, what's the title? And I said, God Made Easy. Well, how can you say no to that title, right? I mean, it's like, they all 3 said send it, so snail mailed, right? Because we were barely into internet and emails, right? That was another reality. God, I really am a dinosaur. It's such a trip now being older, and like you're realizing that people are like, what, Kinko's? So, what's Kinko's? I sent it off, and 3 weeks later I was signing a publishing deal with a very small publisher in Los Angeles called DeVore's Publishing, which, you know, it's been around since 1929, and they only publish spiritual, New Age, metaphysical stuff. So I thought, great, you know. Oh, the other thing, I'm sorry, I know I'm just jumping. It's okay? I'm just going with it? Okay, good. So I'm not usually I'm usually doing my, okay, anyway. So what happened was I realized that since I had, you know, this whole thing was happening, you know, I'd woken up, God, I believe God had given me this book, dictated it to me, told me my marching orders, you know, I knew how to follow the assignments, you know, I got the book published, so I was like, great, I've done my thing. And if it sells 5 copies, 100 copies, 1,000 copies, whatever, you know, I did it. I did what God wanted me to do, because all my life I'd always known that there was something, or I felt that there was something that God wanted me to do. And I know we all feel that to a certain degree, but there was something specific, and it was driving me crazy. I was like, there's something I'm supposed to do, I know it. And it's for God, and it's big. It's something big for God. And then when that happened, I was like, oh, thank God, thank you. You've given me my assignment, and now I don't have to worry about that anymore. I did it. So I'm at my day job in sales, and I get a phone call from this big literary agent in New York City named Al Lohman, and he represented at the time just all these famous people. We'll just say that, a bunch of famous names. And I had sent the book because I had read that what you're supposed to do when you publish a book to ensure or to help it have its best chance of doing well, you write to other authors in the same genre and hope that they will write something nice, a blurb or an endorsement. And if you're really lucky, you'll have that happen, and they can put it on the back of the book. And so I sent it out to a bunch of New Age, you know, authors at the time, and started getting back wonderful, wonderful endorsements. And one of the people I sent it to was Marianne Williamson. And I get a call from her literary agent who said that he goes, is this Patrice Cost? And I said, yeah. He goes, I'm Al Lohman from New York City. I'm Marianne's literary agent. I found your manuscript. It jumped into my hands. It said, read me. And I want to give you the first, oh no, he said, and I want to make you rich and famous. And I thought it was a friend's husband or boyfriend pranking me, you know, because I'm like, yeah, right.
How do you know how to do that accent so
well? Oh, I don't know, 'cause I have an inner New Yorker that lives within me.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
Why?
I don't know, because I'm not from New York, I'm from England, but I have a New Yorker in me.
That's pretty good.
She comes out sometimes, you know, when I'm really obnoxious especially, you know, that's when it's the New Yorker part. I blame it on that.
Okay.
But you know, I was like, oh, great, Al, you're gonna make me rich and famous, are you? Oh, I'll take it. You know, anyway, he was real. He was legitimate. He was Marianne's agent. She was leading a tour in Power Place's spiritual pilgrimage tour, and he found the galley. When a publishing company publishes your book, before it's turned into a hard book, it's sort of this soft paper cover thing. It's like an advanced reader sort of thing, it's called. And that's what he found at her apartment, her flat. And anyway, long story short, even though I had a publishing deal, he got me out of that publishing deal by getting me this big deal with a big New York publisher, and I paid my current publisher, Divorce, half of my advance, and he very happily let me out of a contract because he made a lot of money. And now I was published by Time Warner Books, and this was the original version of God Made Easy. And they published the book.
It's
and
so cute and little.
It's so little, and that would be the God Made Easy part, right? And that's, so when I get to this, okay, I'm gonna get to this part. So so the book comes out, Ellen Burstyn did the audio version of it, and it was in a few different languages, and it was amazing. I got letters, snail mail. The publisher wouldn't let you put email addresses on your book. For some reason, none of their authors, but they would let you put a snail mail address. So I started to get letters, amazing letters from young people, teenagers, old people, everybody.
And how old were you at that
atheists, point? Like 35, 36.
Oh, so it took 1-2 years for this
to come out. Yeah, for it to come out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then what happened, and the book did really well, and I started getting on the speaking circuit with a lot of the, the people that were speaking at the time, the Greg Bradens, and I can't remember all the different, the speakers, Danny Brinkley, some of them are still on the circuit now, the different speakers, but anyway, the division of Time Warner Books was a gift division called Warner Treasures, and it dissolved, it folded, whatever you call it, it went away. And I lost my editor, and I got the bright idea to get my rights back to the book so that I could get a better deal for it. Well, it didn't happen, and I'm not gonna skip the whole thing. Along the way, I got another publishing deal for it, but the guy ruined the book, and he spelled rabbis rabies, and put a wrong address for me on it, and printed the ugliest I hated it, so I spent my life savings and bought every copy of the book. Got out of my contract with him, burned the books, literally had them destroyed by a company that does that. And then I spent the next 15, 20 years trying to get a new book deal for God Made Easy, because that voice, that annoying voice, sorry, but it can be, it's like having this on your shoulder chipping away every few years. It would say, you've got to get the book back out there. You shouldn't have taken the book out of print. Who are you to take the book out of print? Like the world needs the book. So I would try, and by that time I had written The Invisible String, and The Invisible String was taking off, and I was, becoming a pretty well-known author in that children's book world. And for those of you who don't know, The Invisible String is the book I wrote for my son when he had separation anxiety, and I told him one day that we would always be connected by our invisible string. And he just needed to tug on the string when I was at work, and I'd feel it, and I would tug him back, and he'd feel it, and we'd be connected, and his separation anxiety disappeared, and I knew I had something special, so I wrote it as a children's book, and it turned in, it's been a phenomenon, because we all needed to know about the invisible string, and that we really are all connected. We're one, it sounds so cliche, we're one family, like to buy the world a Coke. That's me, I'm dating myself again, some of you know that commercial. But I really do believe that. It's what's true, it's string theory, it's what's true. We are all connected, we are all breathing the same air, we're here, we're all together. But the voice kept saying, you've got to get God Made Easy out there again. And finally, about 2 years ago, I found an agent, and she found an editor that fell in love with the book, and so the new version of God Made Easy finally gets to come out. The voice hopefully will take a break now, and I'm really thrilled. It came out about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And what's so interesting, and my whole story, they let me, which was great, they let me tell my whole story in the back, and they designed it so beautifully, and people said, since this book, and by the way, when the original version was published, the publishing company did not change one word. Like, how it came through is how it was published, which is never, ever, ever happens. It's so rare. So when God Made Easy got its new book deal, there were a few things that just needed to be changed because it was from 30 years ago. So the example I want to give, because it's really one of the only changes in here, was in the beginning of the book where I'm describing, we collaborated, where we're describing some of the hardships of this planet. At that time, it was like, AIDS, killer bees, and now we don't, AIDS is not a huge, there's medication for it now, and we don't have killer bees, but we do have vanishing bees. So now it's, what I changed to is pandemics, vanishing bees, so a few little minor changes, but again, almost exactly as it came through. So I think it stands the test of time, and now I guess how I comfort myself about the 20 painful years, because when I would get an agent and they'd go out there and I couldn't understand why nobody wanted to publish this book, and the answer I always got back from them was, publishers never want to publish a book that's already been out. They consider it old news. And publishers want new, because they might get the next new big thing that's gonna happen. Every publisher's waiting for that one thing that's gonna take off. And thank God this one publishing company saw the value. And now I realize that what better time. We're in frickin' chaos right now. Like, this is, what are we living through? We were having some food, Trish and I, before we came here, like, what should we talk about? We were talking about, well, I won't get into the whole, but this is wild time between AI and the Epstein files and the war and this and that, and we're like, disclosure, we're gonna be aliens any minute, they're coming, they're here, we're gonna know more about it. It's wild time. This is the wild, my socks? Oh, yeah, okay, I love aliens. I do, can you guys see?
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I do, listen, I think I'm not scared of them at all. I think, bring it, come, we need you, we need help, we're a chaotic family down here. Need some guidance. I'm not afraid of them. I think they're benevolent, but the good ones, and those are the ones that that are coming. They were gonna destroy us. They would have done it. They've had ample opportunity and they haven't. So, anyway, any more questions?
So I have not read your book. What is it about? I know God made easy. Yeah, I know, but can you maybe?
It's God made easy.
It's like a spiritual guide.
Yes, of course.
I'll read you.
I need a little bit more.
I'll read you a little taste from the beginning,
yes, please.
Which I read. Okay. And the book is dedicated, by the way, to the hope and vision that all the beings in all the worlds will one day be happy. So, in case you haven't noticed, the world is feeling pretty chaotic lately on every level. Global weird weather, natural disasters, crime, hate, economic strife, political polarization, worldwide terrorism, drug addiction, alcoholism, technology moving so fast you can't keep up, wars, starvation, pandemics, vanishing bees, suicide, suffering, and melting ice. We're running on a treadmill that's going faster and faster. Changes are happening. It's time to remember. Has it all gotten your attention yet? Hey, whoa, stop. There's good stuff too. Yep, you're right. It's all here on planet Earth. Just to name a few: rainbows, shooting stars, babies, sex, hot fudge, which I want to go get after this, the Grand Canyon, cuddly creatures, good comedy. You get the idea. But guess what? There's someone who's gotten really bad press, a bad rap all these years. In fact, a lot of us can't even say the name without a bunch of religious dogma pouring through us, none of which has anything to do with him, her, it, by the way. So maybe during all this insanity, it's time we all got reacquainted. In fact, maybe that's been part of the problem, forgetting. Introducing, once again, and backed by popular demand and need, God. And then the book goes on. Thank you. But again, this is what I believe. I think, I'll speak for myself. I am scrolling, I'm swiping, I'm streaming. I don't even pick up big books to read anymore unless I'm audible. I'll listen, because I just don't let myself, and it's bad. I'm saying this is bad. It's an addiction. Having that phone is a freaking addiction, and I have it on. I've got the small screen, I got the big screen with Netflix, and then I got my middle screen where I'm sending out emails. So I've got 3 screens going at any given time.
Girl, that's
chaos.
a lot.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. But I don't always have the TV. I don't always have the big screen, but the little one and the medium one I usually have. We don't have a lot of attention. So honestly, I think if there was ever a time on the planet's more wackadoodle now than it was when I first wrote the book 30 years ago. It's way more wackadoodle, and I thought it was bad back then, and now I'm going.
Do you think it's more wackadoodle because of access to information?
Probably that's a big part of it. I'm sure that's a big part of it.
Because now everything is at our disposal, like you just explained. We know everything.
We know everything. Yeah, no, it's all too much. It's too much, too fast. It's just too, and too. But because of our very limited attention span, I really do think that this is the perfect time for a book
that's digestible.
That's called that you can keep on your bedside table or throw it in your purse and
open it anywhere.
No! I'm very glad you brought that up. No, I love that you brought that up because in fact even my girlfriend called here. She goes, I ordered your book. She goes, I love it, all the little sayings. And I was like, no. And people very often, because it is such a small book, and because it's got only so many words on each page, people think that it's a book of little sayings, which it can be. Some people love to do that. Oh, I'll use it like an oracle cards, like an oracle book. Oh, what's my message today? Oh, there it is. Oh, and I'll read it to you. We're going home. This does not mean you don't enjoy the ride down here on earth to its fullest. It just means there's something really big to look forward to. Call it what you want. Heaven, nirvana, Shangri-La, bliss, the astral plane, over there, spirit world, the other side, the great beyond, from whence I came. So, I think we need things, that are digestible and simple.
Are you suggesting though that this book is meant to be read front to back?
Sorry, that's where everybody
Because
it came through as one long download, and I do believe to get the most out of the book, although again, it's your book. Once you buy it, you get to do whatever you want with your book. But the way that I think you get the most of it is to read the whole thing from the very beginning to the very end as it came through. And the good news is it'll take you 9 minutes or less, to read the whole thing. And then if you want to open to your message for the day, great. But yeah.
Which is a great practice in attention. We had someone here recently who's a behavioral scientist, and she talked about attention, focus, and concentration, the difference between the 3, which I honestly thought they were synonyms. But she was saying that activities like this, reading a shorter book, doing a puzzle, going somewhere without GPS, actually can help kind of run the muscle of attention span, because our attention is commodified now, and so so this is actually a great exercise in practicing attention in a place that's healthy and life enhancing.
And that's the thing, is the book seems to, based on the responses I got from the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters I got, it has a grace to it. I do not take credit for it. What I do take credit for is that I did take the assignment and did the thing. I don't take credit for the writing of it, because that could have happened to anybody. But
you think it could have happened to anybody?
Yeah, I think it happens to people all the time. Every amazing book that we've read, or song that we've heard, or movie we've seen, there was some creator somewhere that got a download or sat at their computer or at their piano and something came through. So I think that things like that can happen, but not everyone is either able to or lucky enough, honestly, because sometimes it's not about the talent or even the perseverance. I think it has to be a combination of the product has to be good, the perseverance has to happen to have those doors slammed. For 20 years, I've had doors slammed in my face about God Made Easy.
Yes.
But I kept going, like, okay, maybe this year will be different. But I'm not saying even then that there's people that have been knocking on doors for decades that still haven't had the luck, and it's not because they haven't tried hard. So I don't want to make it sound like if you just try hard enough, you're for sure gonna have your dream come true, because that's not true.
Yeah, it's a potion.
It's a combination of grace and kismet and luck and perseverance and blood, sweat, tears and right timing and destiny and God knows what else. But sometimes amazing things happen, and I've been really, really I blessed and lucky, and I don't know. And because I always have been someone that likes to get to the bottom line, like I'm a straight shooter. I don't like a lot of fluff. I don't like a lot of small talk. Like it's like, let's go down. I think that, I was the perfect person for this particular message. Also, I don't have a long attention span, so if he had given me a 400-page book, I wouldn't have probably been able to pull that off. But he said, "Oh, her got me easy. That'll be too much for her. She can handle that." And Invisible String happened. All my books have happened because it wasn't like I sat down. I want to sit. I want to write a book. What idea? It's always been because my son needed this book. How Jackson Found His Joy Again. I see you have some copies here. That's great. That came from a dream. Little boy told me how sad he was, and he was me. I suffer depression. I always have. It's been a lifelong, thing, and a very highly sensitive person, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how you can't be on this planet if you're a deep thinker and not suffer some depression, because I don't know, but whatever, there are people that are they're good. I don't know, are you great? Never met her. Like, what? Who are you? I can't relate, but the miserable people, my people. But How Jackson Found His Joy Again is about a boy that lost all his colors. He had been a very colorful boy, full of colors. And slowly, the hamster died. Parents got divorced. Kid's best friend moved away and heard some bad, and his colors drained, and he was gray. He turned gray. And then one by one, he starts to get his colors back as a metaphor for. But he told me the whole thing in a dream. On Jackson, the title, I saw How Jackson Found His Joy Again. He told me how sad he was, and he was gray, and how to get his colors back, how he got his colors back. And I was like, oh my God. So so that was another one. Now there's been other books. My memoir, I'm slogging over for 10 years now. I'm still writing my damn memoir. So I'm trying to bring the happy, you gotta end it somewhere. And I just haven't been willing to end it, because it's your life. You gotta put it
hopeful, or into some way like that. Happy and hopeful.
Yeah, well, I am happy and hopeful. I am.
You just said you were miserable.
No, I said, you can suffer depression and still be happy and hopeful.
I thought you said miserable people were your people.
Well, yeah, but I don't like the miserable people that can't, also have a good giggle, a good laugh, and see the humor in it all. The morose, if you're totally morose, I can't hang with you. Yeah. But I can hang with you if you're you can get down there. But then you can lift up again, and we can get funny. Yeah. We can have some good times. But I need a balance like this. I sound nuts. I can't believe we're recording this, but that's good.
How do you nurture your relationship with God?
Every day, it's a constant communication. I mean, I'm in.
Like in prayer.
It's not like a formalized prayer, although I do that sometimes too, or formalized meditation. I'm just in conversation when something lousy happens. I'm like, why? What was that for? Mm-hmm. When something wonderful happens, like, oh, thank you. When I see something beautiful, I'm like, wow, well done. Another great sunset. Look at you. I'm just in communication. I made God my best friend, and that's what I'm hoping that God Made Easy will do for everyone. That they'll be able to recognize. So many people wrote to me and said, I gave up religion because, whatever, I'm a born again Catholic, or I gave up religion because I couldn't handle all the dogma around it, or, this and that. And so the whole point, I think, of God Made Easy is that maybe for you find God, your sense of what God is in nature when you're hiking, or when you're with your child, and maybe someone else finds their God when they're listening to great music, Mozart, or Def Leppard, or whatever your thing is, right? And maybe for someone else, we all find the creator, the source, in our own different ways. But he, she, it, them, they are there. They are waiting for us with so much love. I guess I'll end with that part. It's the same message, really. It's just this one's for adults, this one's for kids. But we are loved. We are all one. And the sooner that we realize all of that, and really just during this very, very, very hard time, the one thing we do have control over, and we don't have control over all the chaos, but we do have control over how we're gonna sit with it all. And so I just tell people, I tell the little kids when I read them my kids' books, I say, please, when you go out there in the world after I leave today, when you see someone that's lonely or sad, just tell them how loved they are, and that, you know, we're all connected by love, and remind them about that. And what I would say to the adults is, you know, same thing, when you see someone who's struggling, just remind them that there is something, and we all call it by different names, and every religion has written their own holy book, and, you know, basically claimed that their book is the book. There's many ways to find God, but find God, because that's the one thing we can hold on to through these turbulent waters that we're all being swished through right now.
Yeah. That's helpful. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Bravo. Stay right there. I'm going to take a picture from back there.
Thank you.
Patrice will sign books, and feel free to linger and shop around. And if you have any questions, you know, we're not shutting down just yet. So this is, you know, informal format. You're welcome to chat.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you had some great questions.
Oh no, I was able to ask some of them.
Oh,
so
good,
it's great.
good.
Yeah.
The minute you said, you know, just go ahead. It was like, oh, does she know what she's saying? Does she know what she's saying? Because I'll go.
Because she gave me
It's kind of interesting.
Oh, you like
I like it.
Yeah, this is more
sophisticated.
It's
If you like send her enough, send her like 12 different things. Yeah.
She says,
Yes.
the space goes on, and then we all get to know those who love and me too. I love it so much. I'm thinking that's the criticism.
People loved it.
She says, well, maybe I'm wrong, sue me, but you won't want to.
They've never said that.
It's a tree to get past this.
Wait, what?
Honey. You know, I read your book again, you know, after I saw you at the other store, and there is a page, I don't know what page it is, but I just cracked up so much. You were talking about, you know, there's this place where you were just
Oh, heaven.
going to heaven.
And
then
I
you
said,
were
if you're
saying-
wrong, sue me.
She says, so there's a heaven, there's a place we go to, isn't it, where you'll be connected with all that you love. And I'm thinking to myself, no, she's going to get criticism for that because, you know, people are going to like say, well, maybe it doesn't work that way. And then she goes, well, maybe I'm wrong. She goes, but sue me, but you won't want to.
No,
you won't need
no,
to.
I didn't say maybe I'm wrong. I said, so if I'm wrong, sue me.
Yeah.
In other words, yeah, you'll see. You'll see. I'm gonna have a bunch of people on the other side. You can go, you were right.
So
I
I
told
wrong,
you.
and then the part where you said, but you won't want to, or you won't need to, or
You
something.
won't need to. Yeah, yeah. I say you can sue me, but you won't need to.
That was such a Patrice moment. It was brilliant.
See, he used my humor. I mean,
Right.
that's what's so fun. Like, it was dictated, but it was my humor.
I
But
can
at the
see
time
that.
when I was writing, I wasn't trying to be funny. But it was funny. There were some funny bits.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a
I just
mystery.
loved how you crossed all boundaries. You know, you just wove everybody in together into this beautiful weaving of our lives that we have. And nobody was excluded, and I just think that is the voice that the world needs to hear right now. And that's the voice I heard through your book, and I'm just so happy it is out there because
Thank you.
we are a weaving.
We are a web. We are a web. We're all individual strings, and when those strings all intersect, we're a web of love. And we really are. And one day, I don't know. I mean, I like to think. Actually, I have a book. I have a book that I have a new agent who's going to go out with it. I wrote like a fairy tale for adults, but instead of it being, it's a fairy tale, and the concept is, what would happen if things turned out well? Like not Armageddon. What would be the opposite of Armageddon? What if things went really well? And so I wrote that ending. I wrote that story. Because why not, right? Write it, build it, and they will come.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So there was Revelations, and then there's Back to the Garden. The name of the book is Back to the Garden. And it's like, what? Like one day, we all woke up, and we were all like, I love you! You know, the animal, the lion and the lamb laying down together. But we all do it too, and it was all like, and the prison doors open up, and the people come rushing out fully healed, and there's no more diseases and accidents, and we're all just like, yeah, I don't know, my version of heaven on earth.
As they say, it's just heaven.
Yeah, heaven on earth. Why not? Why not? Doesn't, you know, may not happen, but might. Could.
We'll talk about it later.
Sign me up.
Well, thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank
This was
you.
really sweet. I feel like I was like in the living room.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's so
Definitely.
nice
That's
with
what
the
we like to
couches.
hear.
It's
Yes.
so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that it's nice and
Yeah.
that the cheers.
The cool kids came out on the Thursday night to hear about God. All the rest of those schmuckleheads, we don't care. Do you know that new Facebook group with the We Do Not Care? It's hilarious.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
God. It's so funny. It's all these women posting stuff like, we do not care that, you know, we're wearing the same robe that we've been wearing for 7 years. We do not care. And it's just so funny.
It's just so funny. Because I had pulled this little newspaper article for you with the
Montecito.
and yeah, and I was like, I pulled it and I said, oh, I gotta remember to go see her. And then I wasn't able to do it. And then I kept it and I said, don't throw the paper away, read about it.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And so it was like this morning.
When I saw you, it made me really happy. I really, miss you and our conversation.
I loved your conversation.
And feeling
You
of
still
it.
look just as gorgeous. How's your hair?
It's fine, but never the way you did it. I mean it. I'm not just flattered. I mean it. Thank you.
Sure. Do you ever have presentation or things that are for groups of experience, paid for with your mindful?
Getting the groups together has been really hard. I'm hoping that somehow somebody promotes it for me. When I did one at the Casa de Maria before it went down, yes.